Well, hello, students. Welcome to a full mixing walkthrough. We're going to do this all in a couple of separate parts. As you can see, I'm in Reason, but you can be in literally any mixing software you want, whatever you're most comfortable with. So, like I said, we are going to do an entire mix from beginning to end. Let's find something. Last time I did some death metal. Let's find something else. Let's find a different genre. I'm completely flying blind here. I'm going to pick something I've never seen before. So bear with me. Well, this Carl Hungus with Trap and Future Bass. This seems interesting. I don't know what this future bass entails, but we're going to certainly find out soon enough. Now, before anyone says anything, I realize that this Carl Hungus man is apparently a reference to the movie The Big Lebowski, so haha, funny joke. Of course, this has a text file. 71 files at 41 kilohertz, 24-bit wave, 75 BPM. Well, we best adhere to the standards of the files that we were given. Alright, so here we are back in Reason. Since the track is 75 BPM, we're going to go down to 75 BPM. I'm going to go to my preferences and make sure that the quality is 44.1. If you have a different frequency range or a different bit depth, it might cause problems when you import the audio. Okay, this is a lot of audio we have to deal with. This is going to be intense. And for some reason, it is playing through in the... Alright, let's wait for that all import. Well, alright then. I think I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. I honestly was not thinking that I was going to have 72 tracks, yet here we are. This might be a good reason for us to use the hand tool. Wow. Well, alright then. This is a bit much. To say this is a bit much is a bit of an understatement. Well now, okay. Let me go to the mixer. We're just going to have to select all of these. Click one of them, then Control-Shift. Let's bring all these down incredibly low. We don't have to bring them down completely, but I don't want to blow out your ears. Alright, well, let's start this all the way through. We're going to listen to this all the way through, just get a feel for it. choice of lyrics.
Who's got your love tonight?
Okay, so vocals 1, SFX has some pre-baked audio effects. As you can see, clipping. I'm guessing the clipping is coming up on drums. I already do not like that. Oh, it appears the looping function is turned on. Appears that a percussion is going to cause a lot of problems. I honestly didn't think that there would be this much percussion. Strange. These effects, I would have expected it to either have faded out or had some sort of, perhaps like an echo or a reverb or a delay tail. Okay. Where to go first? That's a good question. Well, if we have a large amount of tracks, we might want to do a little bit of housekeeping. We might want to do some wide sweeps as opposed to spot cleaning. It's a little intense. Okay. It can be quite daunting. Let me see what these two kicks are doing here. Okay, well, we've got a build-up kick. But what about this? Judging from the waveform, this is possibly like an 808. Let me play that again. Let me turn up the volume. Okay, a heavily reverbed, like basically like an explosion sound. I suppose that we could try to cut up these kicks and have them be on one cohesive track, but instead we can just select all of these kicks and do a subgroup. So I'm going to shift, click, route to a new output bus, and we're just going to have a kick bus. We're just going to affect all the kicks at once. To start off, let me go into my effects right from the get-go. Let's just cut off anything below 20 hertz. Right at 30 hertz. I don't know if I want to boost anything yet. Just cut off some low frequencies. And then we need to compress it. We've got way too many kick drums to deal with. Keep it at 4. See where this takes us.
Who's got your love tonight?
Let me just solo this. Not sure if we have to lower the threshold. Not sure if we want to do that either. Why Why did I do that? I'm just trying to get a feel for it. I confused the threshold with the ratio. Okay. Okay. Perhaps we could even serialize this compression. Huh. Rubber band. I suppose we could do that as well. This is a very interesting plugin. There we go. We're getting the desired effect. We can turn that down a little bit. Now remember, the name of the game is to not clip. I suppose a quick fix would be to lower the master fader. But in reality, you shouldn't have to do that. You should keep your master fader at unity and just keep turning this down. Clearly, I'm going to have to make some synthesizer buses as well. Oh, wow. Okay. That is a lot of synthesizers. Well, now, the synthesizer has a bus as well. Let me see what I can do about this. So I've got this plugin by TD. They tend to do a bunch of free plugins. What's cool about this is it appears to be some sort of opto. And it actually shows you your levels. We're getting really intense with this synthesizer. I'm going to have to turn down a lot of stuff. But in the context of the entire track, this is a lot of stuff that we have to keep a track of. Now, in the context of the entire mix, that's a different story. Now, up until those vocals happened, we were not clipping. So you're seeing probably a noticeable pattern. We've got all these kicks, and they're routed to a submix, which is heavily compressed and turned down. Then we make our way to our synthesizers, which are all routed to a bus, which is also heavily compressed and turned down. Let me just retitle this, just so we don't get confused. We've got our kick bus, we've got our synth bus. I'm not sure if this sub boom is part of the kick. That's more of a bass. We've got all these perks. I think it's time to tame our vocals now. There are many vocals, and they are causing problems. Let me control right. Route to new output. And it's common to call vocals just Vox, VOX underscore bus. Vox bus. Keep in mind, I've just been doing levels and compression. I haven't even done EQ yet. But we're making a lot of progress. Obviously, this is kind of annoying. It needs to be turned way down. And since the Vox bus is blue, I might want to color all of these blue too. This seems like a very chaotic approach, but we're doing a little bit of organization and cleanup before we've even panned anything. Piano seems to be its own outlier. Since we're on the subject, you might as well just color everything the same. Steel blue. Just make it easy on yourself. If you have groups, just color them the same color. Okay. So we've got some sort of semblance of organization, groupings. Let's see. Let's color this yellow. All right. Color all this yellow. The kicks are yellow. This is just a visual thing for me at this point because we're working with 72 tracks here. Huh, what do you know? It already colored it for me. Well, it seems that the synthesizer and the kick drum are incredibly important. Let's see what the vocals are doing here. Remind me not to try to mix something with 72 tracks next time. It's okay, we're in this together. I hate that. I hate that so much. Yeah, I'm definitely going to turn down vocals number 2. And you know what? It's really annoying me in the high frequency range, so I'm going to cut out a bunch of highs to give it some sort of terrible telephone effect. Thank you, Carl Hungus. You've irked me slightly. Alright, well, it's there. It's just very specialized in its sound. Alright. We cut out a bunch of frequencies that made it annoying and grating to your ears. I wonder if this is the main vocal. There doesn't seem to be a main vocal. There doesn't even seem to be much of lyrical content. The voice seems to be used as a sort of instrument. It's heavy with the processing. I don't even know what they're saying.
Who's got your love tonight?
Okay, there's clearly some sort of phaser.
Who's got your love tonight?
Something about tonight. I don't know what's going on tonight, but they're singing about it. I wish them well. If only there was a little bit more intelligibility in the vocals. I'm just going to pull up a tape saturator plugin. It's a good way to boost the levels without actually compressing it.
Who's got your love tonight?
Something about loving tonight, or you're gonna love tonight. Still trying to decipher. It would be really nice if it actually came with lyrics on that little text file.
Who's got your love tonight?
Start your love tonight.
Who's got your love tonight?
It kind of doesn't help that they pre-baked a bunch of frequency shifting into the audio. That is a-okay. We're going to just roll with the punches here. Let me get my razor blade here. Oh, let me unsnap from grid. Let's just loop this over.
Who's got your love tonight? 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 Who's got your love tonight?
Okay.
Who's got your love tonight? Who's got your love tonight?
Let me do a little bit of a boost around 11K. Give it some air. Let's see what we can do here.
Who's got your love tonight? Who's got your love tonight?
It's a bit aggressive. Let's bring it down to about 6, maybe 5. We've got a near 6 dB boost around 11 kilohertz. Now, in the context of the song, let's see how this sounds.
Who's got your love tonight?
Okay, my assumptions were correct. This is ever so slightly coming together and sounding better within the mix. Now, you might be a little confused with what I'm doing here, my students. I'm trying to take a very wide approach. Mixing is not a step-by-step approach. It can be in certain situations, but when you've got 72 tracks, it can get a little intense. So right now, I figured I would just focus on the vocals. Looks like I don't really have to do any EQing here. They've already pre-processed this a lot. So instead, let me try something new. I'm going to call this Vox 3L. And of course, this is Vox 3R. We're just going to pan these hard left and hard right. Maybe turn them down ever so slightly.
Who's got your love tonight?
We're still clipping. We gotta tame that bass. We gotta find this bass, see what's going on here. That is a singular bass. I'm guessing that's like an 808 kick drum. That is not even an 808. That is like a pure sine wave that's being pitch bent. Let me just throw a compressor on there. Disengage snap. Razor blade, razor blade. Set loop. They are literally automating frequency shifting on this track. Let me just do a little bit of EQing. Right around 70. Ah, it's starting to hit the sweet spot. Let's bypass the effects. It was okay. Not too much, not too little. See, we've got these two little dips. Or sorry, these little I guess you can call them spikes. I believe this only comes in twice. Let's find our bass. Well, now, we're going to have to clean up our bass when we find it. Bus. My mistake. Bus. Synth bus, not bass. Okay. All aboard the bass bus. All your favorite bass players are on this bass bus. Dead or alive, Cliff Burton, Christ Novak. It's all the famous bass guys and gals on this bass bus. Paul McCartney, perhaps. Although he's more known as a singer and not really a bass player. Okay. Well, we've got our bass routed to a new bus. Obviously, we're going to have to do some compression. Not sure how much. Probably not a lot. Looking at our waveforms, it looks like it's pretty well tamed with our transients already. Let's just do a little listen here. Okay, we've got like a sub. Alright, so some sort of pizzicato house stab. And a woofy kind of modern trap 808. So subs, pizzicato stabs, trap 808s. All three in the same song. Very interesting choice. Well, I already know how to tackle this trap bass. Instead of wasting time with the standard frequency analyzer, let me just put in two equalizers. We're going to stack these EQs. There we go. Low cut. Just do a little bit of a low cut here. All right. It's just not really cutting as much as I want it to. All right. Let's loop this. Razor tool. Unsnap from grid. Resnap, pointer tool. I'm going to have to turn down that vocal mix and the synthesizer mix. This is a bit much. Let's find this. Bass number 1. Okay. Well, what we wanted to do with bass number 1, we can do the same thing with bass number 3. So we're not going to get rid of those. Quite possibly all of these should have double EQs. You don't have to stack them this way, but it certainly helps. Let's hear what this is doing. Someone has aggressively cut it off. I'm not sure if this is even necessary then. Just to be on the safe side, let's just cut it off below 30. Wow, that is... It seems like a little bit of the work has been done for me, but at the same time, so many tracks, it's kind of made my job a little bit harder. Well, there you go. Just a little bit of a curve, just a little bit of a bell at 226, and it's already cutting through the mix a little bit more. Now this stab, this pizzicato stab, I don't really know what to do for this one. Let's take a look at the frequencies. Well, I can tell you right now, we can easily cut off anything below 30 hertz. Maybe even 40. We don't want to interfere with the vocals. Maybe we could cut off below a kilohertz. It might hurt the bass though. Yeah, there's some ugly tapping sound. I don't know why that is. Let's do a compromise. We'll cut anything above 6 hertz, and then that ugly tapping sound is not as prevalent, but it's there, and it just adds a little bit more nuance. Other than that, this track is pretty processed heavily enough as is, so I don't really think we have to do much with that. And since this is all dynamically squashed, I'm not even sure if we need a compressor on this bass bus. We'll just have to see. Starting to dip, or starting to go into the 1+ kilohertz range ever so slightly, but I'm not sure if we'll need it. I don't know. Do we really need that little clicky sound? It just doesn't seem necessary to me. Do we want to even boost anything? I'm not even sure if we need to boost anything. You don't have to boost anything all the time. It's really just what you're feeling. Yeah, it's good. We don't need the CQ. We'll just delete it. Not necessary at all. Whatever they were doing is good enough. They did some really well processing beforehand. They just went a little overzealous with the track count. Alright, let me save this real quick. Save early and save often. Let's see what's going on with this piano. It just seems like it's gonna add a bunch of unnecessary bass. See, when I cut off anything below 50 hertz, it gets rid of that unwanted, unneeded resonance. I mean, if you want that resonance, that's fine, but I feel like it's gonna make it harder to compress later on. Plus, they've already got some sort of weird filtered automation thing going on, so it might help. What do we got going on here? We need to find the source of that. That's got to get turned down. Possibly even have a little bit of high-end cutoff. This, what about this? No, that's more of a pad. Okay, good enough. Back to the piano. Okay, this piano needs some compression or maybe some volume automation. So we could compress, but it might be easier if we also do a little bit of manual editing. Let's take our razor blade and really get in depth. This might be a different issue if this was like classical or opera. But this is a heavily compressed, dynamically squashed pop club type of music. So really, we just want to have a little bit more uniformity when it comes to the audio. And then also, we want to make sure to do some fades, just ever so slightly. Right here. Perhaps even 0 to make it incredibly imperceptible, if possible. Maybe like 5.5 milliseconds. If you don't fade these properly, you might end up with popping. Alright, now that we have our tracks properly re-leveled to taste, as one might say, then we can throw a compressor on. I suppose we could do another quick fix. Instead of compressing, we could distort ever so slightly. Distortion is another great way to compress. It seems like it's added a little bit more bass to it. Do we want to do that? Fantastic. Okay, and then I was also thinking maybe we might want to do a stereo widening effect. Stereo imager. Let me put on a stereo imager before we do anything. Let's just see if this does much. I really need to tame that. That's got to get turned way down. And this, is it this? No, where is that ugly whoosh? This? Where is that ugly whoosh coming from? It could be any one of these. Alright, it doesn't appear to be any one of those. Noise sweep. Okay, here we go. Once again, it appears I'm going to have to make a noise sweep bus. Noise bus. This is becoming tedious, but then again, one day, hopefully, one or some or all of you will be paid to do this professionally. This is something we're going to have to anticipate. Click off to make sure you're not selecting all. That is so annoying. Okay. Now back to our piano. We've got a lot of things so far that have been bust. Let's pay attention to our stereo widening effect. See if it's working out for us. We can do mono if we wanted to, but as we see here, it's clearly stereo. Is mono going to do it any good for us, or is it going to make it worse? Okay, well, the piano clearly benefited from some stereo widening. So we've got stereo widening and some distortion. I understand that right now we're only in about week 3 or 4 by the time you're watching this. But I'm hoping that it will all become apparent soon enough. I use distortion a lot, saturation especially, to tame a lot of wild, unpredictable signals. And I know when some of you think of distortion, you probably think of rock and roll guitars, but really, it's a lot of coloring, character, and dynamic shifting. There's a lot of dynamics that can be affected with distortion. Okay, I think I should adjust. The snares obviously have to have their own bus. We're just going to call this episode 1 the housekeeping session because we need it a lot. Just as a rule of thumb, I'm just gonna turn it down as a default. Okay. Why would you need 5 claps? That's a little intense. It's a little too much. But apparently this is what future bass is. I've never listened to future bass, but it's apparently a lot to handle. What was that? Peach? We're going to color everything peach. And this is some sort of brown, or is it ochre? 10 snares. 10 snares. The sub boom is in its own category. That's okay. I realize I could put all the drums, all the high drums like the percussion into one single bus and call it the percussion bus, but I feel like all of these have very specific and different elements. I really don't think we should do that. Even though we're simplifying it, I think it might simplify it too much. Okay. Alright, let's see what we're doing. The hats are going to need their own. Alright. This started off with as a fun exercise, and now it's getting a little bit more frustrating than I thought it would be. Alright. The hats have to have their own bus. It's the hat bus. Bowlers, pork pies, tops and all. It is the hat bus. You could probably hear the raspiness in my voice. I was not anticipating this. Oh. Uh-oh. That did not get included. There we go. We do not want any stragglers. And the toms are going to have their own tom bus. I realize I sound frustrated, but in the end, I wanted this. I brought this upon myself. Don't worry about me. This might bring a little light to the situation, and you might fully understand why sometimes mixes take a very long time. Let's make this synth bus uniform in color. How about a sky blue? Oh my. Okay, again, we had more stragglers. I purposely did not want to edit this. I don't want to edit this video a bunch and make it seem like I'm perfect with my mixing. It's not. What you see is what you get right now. I don't want to hype it up and make it seem like I'm the greatest mixer of all time. I'm certainly not. When you're dealing with this many tracks, you might have a couple of things slip through. Okay. I think we've got all our buses in a row. Just in case. Let's find... We can just turn this down. Toms are pretty high. Hats are pretty high. If we had less tracks, if we had like 10 tracks, and if this was more manageable, I would have just turned down all of the faders from the get-go and focused on the vocals. But then again, we don't actually have normal vocals. We've got some processed vocals that are more of an instrument, but we don't have actual like lyrical vocals. So we're taking a wildly different approach to a mix because this is a wildly different kind of song. It's not a standard A-B pop song with lyrics about, I don't know, love and life and loss. This is a club banger. So we are dealing with the cards we've been dealt with. All right, let's try this again. Let's listen again and see if we're clipping. I can see that our compression is already starting to pay off. Let me turn down that sub just a little bit, ever so slightly. Snares need a little bit of a boost. Okay. I'm not sure if it needs any dynamic processing, just levels. Can you hear how the piano is paying off when it came to the distortion and the stereo widening? We can just turn that down a little bit. Okay. We just did a lot of cleanup. Now, as far as I could tell, when it came to the bongos and the shakers and this cartoon sound effect, what even is this? Okay. Strange. Let me just turn this up in the mix. That seems kind of inconsequential. But the artist Carl Hungus seemed to want to really have that in the mix for some reason. We've done levels, we've done processing, we've done buses, we've done a little bit of panning, but we haven't done a lot of panning. We've done a lot of housework, though. We've done a lot of editing and organization. So we've got a lot more work to do with this mix. And seeing how it's 72 tracks, it's going to take a lot more. And you can hear the raspiness in my voice. My throat kind of hurts from all the talking. Normally, when I mix a track like this, I don't really talk about what I'm doing. I usually just sit here in the room, and internally in my head, I know what I'm doing. But I'm explaining it all to you as students We did a little bit of panning, a little bit of levels, a little bit of processing, a little bit of editing. We did a little bit of a lot. And best of all, we did not clip. We're currently not clipping. So we don't have to worry as much about our dynamics. Well, I think I'm looking at my timer. I've been doing this for about an hour. So I think we can stop for today. I hope that this helped. Always Control S, make sure to save. And we will pick this up later. I feel like this is going to take a lot more than maybe 3 sessions to finally get this mix in order. We're probably going to have to do some automation. This is a large and daunting track, but I think we can really make it sound special. Feel free to slow down the video if nothing makes sense, and of course you could always write to me. You always write in the burning question section on Canvas if you have any more questions about this material. All right. I have completely thrashed my throat when it came to explaining what's going on in this mix, so I think it's time for a hot cup of tea. And of course, if you have to pause this video and take it in small chunks, that's fine as well. But this is part 1. We did some house cleanup. Stay tuned for more.